Welcome back to the Bourbon Note, everybody. I'm Ben. We've got a cask strength banger bourbon blind battle on the bar. Let's get into it. All right, so welcome back. We are live. Let's check and see if there is anybody in the chat quite yet. Oh, Sugar Kitty is in the house. Look at that. We've got Piper John. We got a few other folks watching. If you're watching, feel free to throw a little something in the chat. Say hi. Let me know what you're sipping on. So, yeah, proof points. I had a lot of fun doing proof points last time, and it had been a while since I did an episode of that. And to be honest, I wanted to get this next cask strength bangers version of proof points out of the way because I am looking forward to the official hazmat proof points episode that will be coming up. If not at the end of the month, soon into February, I'm hoping, because I'm really looking forward to that one. But what we have tonight, we have got, you guys probably can tell, some high proof, again, cask strength bangers. That's the theme of tonight's live stream. By the way, I did, as a little test run of learning how to print out t-shirts, I don't know if you can see it, but I did make a cask strength bangers sweatshirt kind of as my test. Hatfield Barbecue sent me a comment that said cask strength bangers definitely needs to be a t-shirt at some point. So I was like, well, that's a good one to test out on this old sweatshirt. And then I realized that nobody's going to be able to see it because I'm behind all these bottles. But anyway, Ryan Frank is in the house. What's happening, brother? Bourbon Jerk is here. What's up, Tom? Good to see you. So yeah, we're at the 130-ish proof in proof points. And so this is going to be a good one because this is another one where, you know, a lot of these, there's not a bad bourbon on the bar, but I mean, these are all bangers. So super excited to get into this. One rye on the bar tonight, the Jack Daniel's single barrel, but these are all basically in the 130 proof range. What's up, R-Dub? Cheers to you. Throw in the comments, let me know what you're sipping on. I also do have a Patreon subscriber giveaway. If you're not subscribed to Patreon, you can go check that out. If you do, you get entered into every drawing I do on our live streams. So I've got a rye flight giveaway tonight. I've got a couple interesting ones. I'll bust those out in a little bit when maybe a few more people file in that might be Patreon supporters. But yeah, if you want to go do that, check that out. So let's go through these, and I'll probably go through them again, you know, midway through the flight here. But for those of you that showed up on time, let's get some info out of the way. All of you ride or die folks that are watching this, that watch all of these, kind of know how I do this. But for anybody who's new to this or new to the channel, welcome. The way I do these is I have the bottles lined up here, but I have a flight of Glencairns behind the bottles. The bottles are just here to make the bar look cool. The flight is not in order of these bottles. This is a completely blind flight. They've been mixed up fully. I have no idea which one is which. I'll even mix them up a little bit more here. And so I will be going through these blind and then just kind of picking my favorite and, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, this is kind of one of those flights that whichever one loses this is still an amazing bourbon. So these are all winners. It's just a matter of seeing what comes out on top in this particular flight. What's up, Dr. Robert? Good to see you. Jeff Castle is here. Good to see you. So let's go get some info here. This one is Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye. I got this at Hy-Vee in Shakopee, Minnesota. 2024 Tennessee Rye Selection 1. 131.0 proof. We have, you got to throw an allocated one in, I guess, right? We've got Stag Junior. This is an old junior bottle. This is actually a batch 15 from a few years ago. 131.1 proof. We've got the Old Forester Blue Label, single barrel strength. This one's 129.9 proof, so just barely under the 130 proof point. ECBP B524. I do have a C923, but I wanted to go with something a little more recent and also one that maybe was a little easier for people to find if they're interested in maybe doing a similar flight. So this one, 11 years, 2 months, comes in at 130.6 proof. And at the end here, we've got Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof, 130.6. So we've got a hell of a flight here. I'm looking forward to this. Also, I have smaller pours of this because, you know, when you're doing the cask strength bangers in a 5-bottle flight, you know, you don't want things to get too out of hand. So I will try to save some for the blend at the end. But yeah, I didn't actually get time to eat any dinner before coming on here. Usually I do. But I was attempting, I think futilely, to fix my water softener. And it's not going well. So anyway, all right, got some more folks filing in here. Good to see everybody hopping on. Let's get into the tasting, kind of like the first round, or just the quick nosing. I know that part's a little boring because I don't know if it's more boring when I'm talking or when I'm not. I'll leave that up to you guys. But I'm just going to go through here, nose these a little bit, talk amongst yourselves for just a second, and I'll try to stay with you a little bit here. But this is the one drawback to trying to do these things, you know, a large tasting live, is there's a lot of downtime. So let's get into it here. Again, don't let the order of the bottles on the bar fool you. These are completely blind. Good Lord. All high proof, no dinner, stay vertical. Yeah, exactly. That's why I went with small pours here, and I measured them to make sure that I stayed at 2.5 total ounces of bourbon, which is a decent pour for high proof, but it's manageable, you know, when you drink them over the course of an hour. So just before I hopped on here, I noticed I sneezed a couple times, and immediately after I sneeze, my nose gets a little stuffy. So as good as these all smell, they're kind of all smelling very similar to each other. So we do have 3 Brown-Forman products on the bar, 1 Buffalo Trace and 1 Heaven Hill. 2 actual Jack Daniel's products. I've said it many times, I think the Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Barrel Proof Rye and the Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Barrel Proof, for how available they are, maybe the best available bottles on the shelf. Interestingly enough, being the resident Brown-Forman truffle pig with a damn near perfect record on picking Old Forester products out of blinds, I'm not really getting one that's standing out fully as the Old Forester. Again, I kind of got stuffed up just before coming on here. Thankfully, I had my sneezing fit before the live started. Oh, man. These just all smell amazing. It'll be interesting to see if I can pick the rye. So, you know, sometimes when you get 4 bourbons in a rye, you know, you can't always pick that rye out. Let me get a sip here before getting into it. All right, let's get into the first one here. Cheers, everybody. Every one of these I'm going to be tempted to just say that one wins, because every one of these are like, this is like a murderer's row of my favorite bottles on my shelf. They're not, there's a couple that aren't in here, but I mean, yeah, I love every one of these. I'm going to get some water in between these, and then I'll just start raw dogging them towards the end here. Oh boy, that's amazing. Good God. This is going to be an amazing flight. Let me know in the chat, out of these 5 bottles, you know, Stag Junior allocation aside, just based solely on flavor, which one are you picking? You got all 5 of them on the shelf. You want to have a really good pour some night. Which one are you going to? Ooh. That middle one really stands out as different. Very good. Really like brown sugary, sweet. I wonder if that's the Elijah Craig. Jeff Castle, single barrel barrel proof and, or single barrel barrel proof rye and stag. Yeah, that's hard to disagree with. I've said a bunch of times, it's the rye in particular. I love the Jack Daniel's single barrel barrel proof. The rye one though, that one just over the last year has become kind of one of my go-tos for when I want a really, really good pour. And you can get them around here very, very easily for 70 bucks. I think it's one of the best values on the shelf. You know what? I should have grabbed a notebook so I can write down and try to do guesses. Piper John, Brown Foreman, any flavor will do. Yeah, I love Brown Foreman stuff. Dr. Robert, either Jack Daniel's single barrel. Yeah. You really can't go wrong with them. I just... Total Wine was selling these for like 55 bucks, and then they're moved up to 60, and now I think they're 65. For the regular, but not the rye. The rye is always about 70. But this one is on his way out, and so I think I've got to go grab another one. Again, this is the regular barrel proof. My local store has like a 135 proof one for like 70 bucks. So I think I'm going to go replace that bottle with the one from the 135 proofer. Wow. All right, now this is getting very interesting. Let me see if I can, I'll just use one of these to write down what I think these might be. I am gonna attempt to guess, because every time I say I'm gonna guess and then I forget to, I would have gotten them right. And that just makes me feel good. I could completely humiliate myself on this as well. But I am getting some vibes here for sure, off of some of these. Let me just... So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, the glasses behind these don't correspond to the bottle. It's just to make it look cool. Okay. Piper John, last one I got, 133-ish proof, 65 bucks. I mean, is there a better value when you're walking into a store for, and again, in Minnesota, these are, both of them are regular everywhere. For what you're getting in the bottle, is there a better value for availability for like a premium, you know, cask strength banger sort of a bottle? I don't think that there is. All right, I'm gonna go the other way now. Ooh, that's a little different now. What's the highest Jack Daniel's single barrel proof you guys have had? Keep it going in the comments, because without you guys talking back to me, I'm just talking to nobody, and it's gonna get boring. More so than it already is. Man, this is gonna be a tough one. What's up, OG Brick? Good to see you. Yeah, doing these the other way now, whatever guesses I had that I thought, now that's completely out the window. I don't know what any of these are. I thought I did, like the first time through. Oh, by the way, I did a video with the, well, here it is. The Wild Turkey 70th anniversary, where I compared that to regular Wild Turkey and Camp Nelson Kentucky Spirit. I feel like I need to do that again, or at least do the 70th versus the regular, because the amount of people out there that just noticed a night and day difference, and I just didn't when I did the blind. I kind of wonder if I just need to redo that and try it again and see if maybe just having the 3 bourbons threw it off, you know? I think we all know whenever you're doing a blind flight, you're doing multiple whiskeys, it is subject to, you know, the order you drink them in and stuff like that. I mean, blinds are not, you know, hardcore science. I think somebody hearted on Facebook. I think that's what they mean when they put the little heart up there. I don't know. I don't know how this stuff works. Piper John, I've seen, let's see. I've seen one that was just under hazmat. Wow. That was a while ago. Proof in the low mid-30s, as high as I've seen recently. Yeah, I think that that 135 is probably the highest one I've seen. Chris Tats is here, all the way from Australia. G'day, Ben, from all the way from down under. Well, one the way at least 95 today down here. Already feels like a sauna. So glad the new AC will be installed in 2 days. I'm assuming you mean 95. No, 95. Fair. Oh, he did put the F there. I was going to say 95 Celsius. That would not be a reasonable temperature for humans to live in. I don't really know Celsius conversions right off the bat, but I know that that would be a ridiculous one. All right, I'm sticking with that. All right. Anyway, so getting back to that Wild Turkey thing, have you guys had the Wild Turkey 70th anniversary? Did you notice a massive jump between that and the regular 101 like everybody else did? Because this is one that I'm so alone on this island that I feel like I need to do another shot at it. And since I'm a YouTube whore, I'm gonna film it. And so might have to have another video of that coming out at some point here soon. It feels like 95 Celsius. Might as well have the oven on and open to cool the house down. Nice. Yeah, when your air conditioner runs out at that temperature, is it humid down there, Chris? Because in Minnesota, we get up into the 90s, here and there in the summer, but the humidity can be just a killer with that. All right, now, again, I'm all over the board here as to which one is which. I have no idea. 70th is better, but did not notice a huge difference. Okay, so when I did R-Dub, when I did that, the Camp Nelson actually came in last place, and the 70th came in second, and the regular Shelfer won it. 80% humidity and rising. Good Lord, at 95 degrees, that's awful. I never got a crack at the ones at the 70th. I don't think you're missing much if you don't get it. I don't know. I don't think I would feel the need to back it up, But when I did the blind, it was kind of a toss-up between the two. The Camp Nelson, surprisingly enough, because there was a whole hubbub on Whiskey Tube for a while there, that the Camp Nelson Kentucky Spirits, they're from the Camp Nelson warehouse, which is where all their single rick house, I think it's the single rick house ones, come from. So it's supposed to be like the best warehouse. So if you see one of those, get it. And so I saw one, I picked it up, and really, really liked it. But in the flight, it just didn't hold up. Bike riding Brian Vaughn is in the house. I haven't had the standard 101 in years. I did just blind the 70th, Eagle Rare, Knob Creek 12, and Old Forester 100. Who came out on top in that one, Brian? Because that wasn't the one you mentioned on Patreon that had, what was it, the Green River, I think, in it? Eagle Rare is a little hamstrung there because of the proof. Knob Creek 12, that's another one. For the $60 at Knob Creek 12 costs, that's a damn good bourbon. And at this point, I think I can call it and say Old Forester 100 is the best budget bourbon out there, in my opinion. May not be yours, but Knob Creek 12-1, I'm not surprised by that. I'm not surprised by that at all, actually. I would love to see Beach Sand Bourbon. What's happening? Go subscribe to Beach Sand Bourbon. Anytime we get another channel in the chat here, if you guys want to, any mods want to throw some links in there. I have to go update my mods, by the way, because I haven't done that in a while. All right, let me get through this a little bit more. Okay. The thing that's tough about this, agree on Old Forester 100 for sure, yeah. The thing that's tough about this is that when you're doing a flight like of bourbons that are this good, you want to sit and really take time with them. And again, I don't want to bore you guys to tears any more than I probably already do. On its own, I think the 70th is fantastic. And in a blind, Tom, what do you think? With other Wild Turkey products? And the reason I say that also is I did a review of the 70th, thought it was really good. Thank you, OG Brick, for throwing the link in there for Beach Sand Bourbon. The other night I had a pour of the Wild Turkey 70th, and it just hit really, really good that night. And it got me thinking that maybe I've been unfair. God, this is a nearly impossible flight to pick a winner. Or to pick any sort of an order. And by the way, this is always an open invite. If you have a channel and you're watching this live, put your channel information in the chat. Or at least mention it, and we'll have one of the mods throw a link out there. Please always feel free to promote your channels in the chat here. The 70th had a cinnamon candy tasting note to me that you didn't mention. You know what, Dr. Robert, that's interesting because I usually get a lot of cinnamon on Wild Turkey products, and that's predominantly what I got the other night when I had it again. And when I say again, it wasn't, for all you neck pour believers, I mean, it's about a third of the way gone because I have sipped on it here and there. But the other night, it just really hit nice. And I would agree with you, Dr. Robert. That's exactly what came through that really, really made it. And cinnamon candy in particular. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more on that. This is just nearly impossible, by the way. I know I've said that, but I just can't stress that enough. All right, Tom, I want to see that video where you put it in a blind because I don't know if I've seen other channels blind it. I know It's Bourbon Night did, but like channels in our kind of like ecosystem here that all kind of know each other. But I think a couple of them, I want to say Bourbon School, didn't they not blind it but drink it next to each other? I don't know. I watch so many channels now of people that I know on YouTube that I get their videos mixed up and I can't remember sometimes who did what. Cracked a Rebel Distillers collection and the neck pour on it was real. Really? Okay. I thought I'd drain pour the bottle. Next day it was fine. So 1 day's worth of this much extra air. That's all I'm saying. Did you eat something different that day, or this is not a reference to your handle on YouTube, but I notice whenever I have any sort of like cotton mouth from a little dehydrate or something, whiskey just doesn't hit right. I think you have to have a, Did It's Bourbon Night do a side-by-side? I believe they did. I think they did like that, the regular Wild Turkey, and then they did one that involved Russell's Reserve, even though it's a different proof point. And I think they had something else. Maybe I can't. I know they did something with it where they kind of They did a video about it, and then I think they did like a little blind or something like that. Bourbon School did the 101 versus 70th one. But was that a blind flight, Piper John? I can't remember. Sugar Kitty with the link to the Bourbon Jerk. Thank you. Tom, sorry, I forgot to mention to throw your link in there as well. These last three, I'm having a really, really difficult time with. Check out the Bourbon Jerk. Really, he's not. I can attest to that because he was kind enough to have me on his show. Class act all the way. And speaking of which, I will be doing more guests when I get back from vacation. So, would love to have Tom on the show at some point here. Going to do a blind turkey flight. Russell's 15, Russell's 13, 70th. Oh, geez, the chat's going nuts now. Hold on. I lost that one for a second. Let me reread that. Going to do a blind turkey flight. Russell's reserve 15, 13, 70th, and Russell's 10 with the laser code. Maybe a wild card as the 5th. That's a hell of a flight. The only thing that I think would skew that possibly is the proof points on those. If the Russell's Reserve 10 at 90 proof can hold up with the laser code one, then I will be a believer in that. I have not gotten to try that. I have checked around for those laser codes when I see it on the shelf, but I have not seen one, so haven't been able to score one yet. Holy shit, Ben, your Elijah Craig thumbnail. Oh, did you go on Patreon? Yeah, by the way, tomorrow's video, I'm having a 3-way. So, look forward to that. If you're on Patreon, you already have seen it, or at least seen that it's posted. You can watch it tonight. I think they'd be a solid head-to-head, Chris. What was it? Oh, Chris said, have to put the 70th up against the Diamond. Oh, good Lord. So getting a little sidetracked here before I kind of try to make a decision on these. Okay, so I will say this. By all means, when you're buying bourbon, don't put yourself in a bad financial situation to do it. I don't mean to sound preachy, but this has to do with what I'm about to talk about. You know, I'm not a person who uses debt to buy. I don't use debt anyway, but I don't go out and buy an expensive bottle on a credit card and then just make minimum payments on it or whatever. I'm just saying, be responsible. I hope you guys are being responsible when you're buying whiskey. Again, not to sound preachy. You do whatever you want with your money. I'm just saying that's how I do it. Like if I can't afford to just buy it, I won't buy it. And that helps keep me kind of, keeps my bourbon spending in check. If I'm not willing to just spend the money out of my bank account today, then that means it's not worth buying. That being said, that's the only reason I brought that up is I've looking back over the years, Chris brought up the Wild Turkey Diamond. I've only regretted the bottles I didn't buy. And I remember when I kind of first got into bourbon, not first got into it, but first got into kind of learning about collecting stuff and, getting to know different distilleries and stuff. Troy from Baker Drinks is here. What's happening? Let's see. Cheers all. Ben, please give a full detailed recap of the last 30 minutes to bring me up to speed. I sat here and drank bourbon and didn't say anything interesting. That's pretty much what it was. You got on the live stream right at about the good time here, Troy. So anyway, I found that I only regret the bottles I didn't buy. And the reason I said that about, hopefully, please be responsible. Don't, don't spend money you don't have on bourbon because it's not worth that. But I remember back when I was kind of first into it, there was a bottle of the Wild Turkey Diamond. And I think, wasn't that, Chris, you can probably correct me on this because this was years ago. Wasn't that like a anniversary thing? I know this 70th is an anniversary thing, but wasn't that like some sort of anniversary or collaboration? And as long as it's not FOMO, yeah, I always say that. That's another thing I'll preach about is, please don't pay secondary for these bottles. None of them are worth it. Jimmy's 60th. Okay, thank you, Chris. I saw that just sitting on the shelf for $100. And back then, the idea of spending $100 on a bottle was just, back then, like, $100 on a bottle wasn't as normal as it is now. Unfortunately, it's kind of normal now. Some of them are worth it, some of them aren't. And I passed on it. And I look back now, and I was just like, I had the money to just buy it. I just didn't want to spend $100 on a bottle. I really wish I had bought that. There was a couple other ones. I can't think of them offhand, but there's definitely been a few other ones where I look back now and it's like, you had the money. You were just being stingy. You should have just bought the bottle. So anyway, forgive my preachiness on the, not using credit card debt to buy bourbon. You do what you want. I'm not here to judge. All right, let's see. That's why I have 2 jobs, one for bills and one for bourbon. There you go, Beach Sand Bourbon. That's a good way to do it. I'm approaching bonus season and already have allocated myself a Russell's 15. Do you, Bike Riding Brian Vaughn, do you know where to score a Russell's 15? Let's see, I can remember looking at Angel's Envy and Joseph Magnus thinking 100, no way. Yeah, that's, you know what, OG Brick, I think that's another one. There was an Angel's Envy cask strength back when it was like $150 or something. And some of these are even like, there used to be, Russell's Reserve used to have a different label. I sometimes like to buy, these are the bottles that I buy and don't open, is like when a bourbon changes or a whiskey changes their label. Sometimes I like to buy one of the labels before they change it and just keep that as a collector's item. Because it's not like I can't experience the whiskey. I can still buy bottles of it. I just like to, if I can hang on to an old school label, I like to. Like I've got a Kentucky Spirit up there. That's the old turkey feather shaped bottle. Like I won't open that one because I can buy Kentucky Spirit anywhere. I just want to keep that particular bottle. So those are the ones, like if I am going to buy a bottle and not open it, those are the ones I do it with. I'm the same way, Ben. I buy old labels. Yeah, I had a chance to buy a Russell's Reserve, like what is the basic rye? Just the Russell's Reserve rye. Is that 90 proof as well? I think it is. But it was the old school label that had like the little beige, like, I don't know what it's called, little thing. It said Russell's Reserve on it. And I regret not buying that. It was like $40. I completely should have bought it just to have it on the shelf. So now I do that. If I hear a whiskey's coming out with a new label, like Maker's 46 change their label, I'll probably buy a bottle of the old school one if I see it, just keep it on the shelf. Let's see, Chris Tats, I can bring you a sample if you have never had it, Ben, when we come over. Yeah, you guys, so are you officially going to be in Minnesota? Let's see, Beach Sand Bourbon. Oh, okay, Piper John's talking Beach Sand Bourbon. New Maker's 46 cask strength is terrible. Did I have the new cask strength or the new just regular Maker's 46? Brian, that's another video that I want to do. I've been meaning to do this for like a year. So every time a bourbon gets a new label, people automatically assume the whiskey in it changes, and I don't know if there's anything to back that up at all. Bitter and grass. So I will say this, Brian, Maker's cask strength and the 46, I assume is the same. Those are batch products. So like in particular on the regular Maker's cask strength, it'll say the batch on it. So there's gonna be some flavor drift on those. But like Old Forester Whiskey Row Series, for example, went through a label change a couple years ago. And everybody did is the new one as good as the old one? Or when Wild Turkey 101 went through their label change, everybody did is the new one as good as the old one? Like, why does everybody assume that when the label changes, the whiskey changes? Because I would think if you're a distillery, you would, if you're gonna change the bourbon, like maybe start using some younger stock so you can get more yield out of your product, you wouldn't do that corresponding with a label change so people catch on to it, right? Like, I don't know why they would do that. So everybody always does that. So I've kind of been meaning to do a video on that. Like, is there any science at all behind, They put a different sticker on the bottle, and all of a sudden the whiskey's completely different, you know? And the other thing with that is like, okay, so when they're mass producing Old Forester, and as soon as the label changes, do they mark it like, okay, stop putting this juice into those bottles because now we have a new sticker, and we have, like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. I know that Trev over at the Bourbon Wrench is a big fan of like the Maker's 46 cask strength and the Maker's cask strength, and he said that there was a big change with it. But again, those are batch products. They have batch numbers on the bottle. No different than you have batches of ECBP. So, you know, I don't... Piper John, tell us how you really feel. No science at all. None. Zero. Not a thing. I am inclined to agree with you, Piper John. Bourbon School, let's see. I still enjoy the cask strength. Still working things out. When and where is still up in the air, but can organize a hand deliver when we are over. Sweet. Well, yeah, just keep me posted, Chris. That'd be awesome. OG Brick was asking which batch it was. I didn't care for it last year either. People have done that with 1920, and I don't think it's any different. Yeah, 1920 was one of the big ones, but they changed the label on all the Whiskey Row products. You know, so I don't know. I may have missed an episode, but is the Fiery Buffalo your new label then? Yes, it is, Ryan Frank. As of the first of the year, I switched over to a new label. Let's see. Trev is the one who put me onto it. I didn't believe him, but the first 2 bottles of the new one I bought were bad. Okay. Again, though, batch products, so. OG Brick, I have all 3 of the 46 cask strength put away. We shall find out someday. All right, I want to hear the results of that. The red 12-year on the back is post-fire. The red 12-year on the back of what? Post-fire. Are you talking about... The only thing I know that had a fire was Heaven Hill. Okay, anyway, let me get back to these for just a second. We're going to get into the Patreon-only drawing. Read your earlier post. Thankfully, Chris, there's a lot of people commenting, so when that happens, the post goes by kind of quick. So if I missed it, I'll have to, let's see. Elijah Craig did, okay, there we go. So Heaven Hill Fire. Elijah Craig did that. They changed from the pirate bottle to the new bottle when they started using younger juice. Yeah, because they actually took the age statement off of the bottle. They used to, I think the regular Elijah Craig was 12-year standard, I think. When they started using younger juice, all the old pirate bottles with the 12-year on the front label were pre-fire. Okay. But that makes sense because they changed the age statement. And I think Heaven Hill actually puts on the website that normal Elijah Craig is like 8 years. So anyway, real quick before I get into one final tasting, I do need an assistant. Thank you, Ryan Frank. I'm trying to talk my wife into it. By the way, I've been trying to talk my wife into hopping on a video here with me, which she has no interest in whatsoever. She doesn't even watch this show. But she said when I reach 5,000 subscribers, she will. Because I told her, I was like, well, we can do a video where, like, because she doesn't drink bourbon, where like a bourbon whiskey noob drinks a few different kinds of bourbon, and I can see if I can try to convince her. So, yeah. So at 5,000 subscribers, she said she would hop on one of the videos with me. So if you want to see my wife on the channel being completely uncomfortable being in front of a camera on the internet, share these videos. So before I get into this, let's talk about the Patreon-only giveaway for tonight. If you're interested in the Patreon, go sign up. We do giveaways at least twice a month, and you're entered into every single giveaway that we do. If you want to throw a $5 super chat in, we'll throw you in the giveaway tonight. It's a rye flight, so I've got the Heaven Hill grain to glass rye. Whiskey tube date night, right. Troy, you've got it easy because you do the channel with your wife, so you guys just, it's like a thing you do together. Like I have to do this all by myself and leave her sitting up there all alone, you know. The Sagamore Spirit Double Oak Rye is going to be in the giveaway tonight. Now, if you watch this channel regularly, you'll know that I don't like this. But I am the only person on WhiskeyTube that doesn't like this. Everybody else absolutely loves this bottle. So this is going to be in the flight. And then a weird one here. This is one I bought while on vacation in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. This is I think it's Traverse. I think I said Traverse in one of my videos, and I got shredded in the comments for pronouncing it wrong. But I think it's Grand Traverse Old George, and this is a rye whiskey, 100% rye, finished in sherry cask, 100 proof. When I first bought this, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I wasn't a rye drinker, and I wasn't really ready for what this is. And this thing, you probably can't see it, but this looks like motor oil. This is a super dark, dark whiskey. Troy, correct me if I'm wrong, but did I send you a sample of this with those other ryes I sent? I might have. Anyway, now that I'm more into ryes, this is a very, very interesting whiskey. I like it personally, but yeah, so this is gonna be in there too. So this one, the Sagamore Spirit Double Oak, and if you win and you've already got a bottle of this on the shelf, just let me know. I'll replace it with something else. And the Heaven Hill Grained Glass Rye. So that's coming up. All right, let's get into the final tasting here. Then I've got to make a decision. Before you know, she'll be on the Whiskey 6. I mean, I think we're a ways away from that, Brian, but let's try. Because I know when you first started out, Marie Ann wasn't a whiskey drinker, and I know, correct me if I'm wrong, and this is like bourbon school trivia here, but I think it was Woodford Double Oak that got her hooked. Am I correct on that? Keep the bottles, that one actually gave away. Okay. So let me go through these one more time. At this point, any notion of trying to pick all of these has kind of gone out the window. I want to see if I can pick the rye and the Old Forester. That's what I'm going for. Correct. Woodford Double Oak for the win. Okay. Brian, what would you... how many people would you kill for the Woodford Double Oak that they only sell at the distillery once a year? Being as big a Woodford Double Oak fans as you guys are. God, these are all so freaking good. I didn't raw dog these at all. I was going to, but I'm still going to do water, I think. Ryan Frank, Patreon subscriber and friend of mine. If I win tonight, I'll donate my winnings to double up on the next giveaway to the winner if they have a super chat that night plus a $10 bill. That's a fact, Ben. You know I'm good for it. All right, Ryan Frank up in the ante. Larry 3R. Hard to pick up any rye notes out of those Jack Daniel's single barrel proofs. I don't know. I think I can get some rye notes out of them. Are you talking about the single barrel proof rye or like rye notes out of, the rye influence on the regular one? Let's see. Troy from Baker Drinks. Put the bottom shelf versions of those bottles up there and you will pick them over those. Wait, what? Put the bottom shelf versions of those bottles up there and you'll pick them over those. So you like Old Number 7, the 94 proofer, 86er. I don't know, I guess this one would be Mash Bill 1 Benchmark and just the regular Jack Daniel's rye. The rye, okay. See, I get some good rye notes out of there. But hey, Larry, we're going to find out tonight because I'm going to see if I can pick the rye out of this flight. And I might not be able to. But we will definitely find out if I find rye notes in it. Oh, Troy's breaking my balls over here. Okay, you always pick the bottom shelfer over the premium. Yeah, that seems to be the theme in my batch versus barrel. Well, in my three-way video tomorrow, Troy, you can watch that one and let me know what you think of it. I did pick the Evan Williams single barrel over the regular one. So far that one's happened. I'm on the hunt for the Woodford Double Oak. Well, you're going to have to hunt in Kentucky because I think that's a distillery only. This middle one, by the way, every time I go to it, it tastes dusty. Like old and dusty. He buys the barrel proof so he can add water and make it stretch. Oh, it's not distillery anymore. Okay. This is the hardest one of these I've ever done.
That's what she said.
I finally got to use that button tonight. I've heard it's in Nashville and Detroit area. Oh yeah, and you're in Michigan, correct? Beach Sand Bourbon, if I remember from your channel. All right, I have to make a decision here. And to be honest, I don't know what to do. I think number 1 and 2, and so we've got more people in the chat here. So I'm doing a blind flight of all of these proof points where we pit a bunch of bourbons together, or whiskeys. In this case, there's a rye on the bar, that are the same proof, and just kind of do a blind, see who wins. The glasses I'm drinking are not in this order. The bottles are just there to be on display so you know what I'm drinking, but I'm not drinking them in this order. The glasses have been mixed up. They're completely blind. So when I say glass number 1, I'm not talking about this bottle. I'm just talking about the glass that I'm drinking. So I think glasses number 1 and 2, no, it's a big release this year, but okay, interesting. $200? I don't know, but I did pay $200 for the old Granddad 16, which, by the way, I stand by. I wouldn't do it again, but I really wanted that bottle, and I think it's great. Every time I have a sip of that, it just gets better and better every time. So I think glasses number 1 and 2, I'm going to set aside because I think I've already made my mind up on those, and I need to get into these other ones a little bit here. So here's this dusty one. All right, I got to take a second here of silence just to... Lauren and I are going to review the OGD 16 when we film Friday, thanks to your sample. Awesome. I kind of assumed that it would be a Lauren day on camera for that one since she's such an OGD fan. This is a hard one.
That's what she said.
These last 3, I really... Hatfield Barbecue, what's that? Okay, hold on. Hatfield. I'm assuming you saw the thumbnail for the video. Check out the shirt, Hatfield. Cask Strength Bangers. If you weren't here at the beginning, I did call you out particularly and mention that you said I had to make a Cask Strength Bangers shirt. I was doing some testing on how to print stuff and do iron-ons, and so my first test shirt is a Cask Strength Bangers shirt. Thanks to your idea, and that did inspire the thumbnail for tonight. When you sent me that message, I actually went on and started messing around with some Cask Strength Bangers images. So thank you for the idea. So happy that you're here to see that, Hatfield. I appreciated the idea. Okay. Oh, Jesus. I honestly cannot decide between these last 3. I think I'm going to have to drink the last of them and then just put a little splash in the glass for to do the blend at the end here, which we're 10 minutes away from the end of this. When you cleanse your palate, use tap water, RO treated, reverse osmosis, or bottled water. This is just tap water. Have a great night. Go subscribe to Beach Sand Bourbon. Okay, let's make I'll take a sample of Stag as payment. All right, I got you covered, Hatfield. Oh, by the way, we had exchanged an email about exchanging some samples at one point, and we didn't follow through on that. So yeah, hit me up. We can exchange some stuff here, for sure. I have no idea what these last three are, but I'm going to go... These are in first and second place. I don't know which one to pick. They're honestly a dead heat. I'm going to go... I'm going to go with this, with sample number 2 as the winner. It's a toss-up. And I think sample number 2 is the rye, honestly. This has become one of my favorite whiskeys over the last year. I think that's it. That's the one I'm going to guess on. And I think number 2 is the Old Forester. I'm going to go... I'm going to go number 3 in last place. And then the other 2 are kind of a toss-up. To be honest, this was every single one of these. It was like first place is 100%, second place is 99, third place is 98, and so on and so forth. Batch 15, Hatfield. So I'm going to go ahead and guess. So my last place one, I think this might be the Heaven Hill. And so let's get ready for the big reveal here. Dramatic music. So I'm calling it in last place, this one. Again, there was no loser in this because this is a flight of some of my favorite whiskeys that I have on my shelf. But, you know, when you're doing a blind out of 5, one of them's got to come in last, and it is Elijah Craig. Okay, so I was right on that. Second to the last. I think might be the Stag. There was a time when I thought the second to the last one here was the Old Forester, but I changed my mind, and I think that's number 2. Let's see. That was a lot of bourbon intake. I personally understand your confused look on this issue. Well, they're all 130 proof too, so you do get a little bit of palate burnout. So in 4th place, I think this might be the Stag, but let's find out what it is. It is the Old Forester. Damn it! I was right the first time. So I'm wrong on whatever the second one was. So I did say before looking at this that I initially on my first flight, or my first drink through the flight, I thought this was the Old Forester. I set it aside as that. Interesting that Old Forester came in 4th. So then I kind of assumed that this one was maybe the Jack Daniels. That was my guess. But what is this? That's the Stag. Okay. So Stag coming in 3rd place. The 2 Jack Daniels finishing in 1st. First and second. So to be honest, that kind of makes me happy. Like, I don't go into these necessarily wanting something to win. I did fail at my Brown Forman Truffle Pig status tonight. This might be one of the only ones I haven't guessed it. But again, I did guess it right at first. I should have just stuck with what I thought, but then I got, you know, tripped up by whatever number 2 is, which is still Brown Forman, but I don't really, when I say I'm the Brown Forman Truffle Pig, it's really kind of an inside joke that I'm usually good at picking out Old Forester products. Jack Daniels is Brown Forman, but I don't really associate those with the same flavor profile. A little bit of banana on both, but Okay, anyway, let's get into the winner, because if I say what second place is, it's gonna, say what the winner is. So let's just go straight to the winner. I think the winner is the rye. Now, we were talking earlier about whether or not there's rye notes on the rye. Who was it that said that? Was that, hold on a second. I'm sorry if who said that? I'm trying to go back to the comments. Damn it. I think it was it R-Dub that said it? I think so. Sorry, 530 proof whiskeys, So anyway, I think number one is the rye. Let's look at it and see. It is the rye. Okay, so I did pick that. And then the Jack Daniel's single barrel proof comes in second. So results are in. In first place, Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye. In second place, Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. Third place is the Stag Junior Batch 15. Fourth place is the Old Forester. And then fifth place is the Elijah Craig. So that's awesome. I did say at the beginning of this that I think that these two bottles are the best values in whiskey on the shelf that are available. And so it's kind of nice to see those coming in and winning, because they are available and they're available at a reasonable price. So go out and grab these. If you haven't had these for some reason, if you can get them, definitely go get them. All right, let's get into the Patreon drawing real quick here. Well, here, I'll just set these in front. So for the Patreon drawing, we've got 2-ounce samples of Heaven Hill Grain to Glass Rye, Sagamore Spirit Double Oak Rye, and this Grand Traverse sherry, right? Sherry finish? Yep. 100% rye, finished in sherry cask, 100 proof. I did fail at, applause. Yeah, there we go. Let's get back to our regular music here. Sugar Kitty's house, how may I help you? Ben? Ben who? Never heard of him. Phone a friend. Okay, I see where you're going with that. Patreon.com/thebourbonnote. Yes, if you guys want to go subscribe on Patreon. I haven't put out bonus content in a little bit here, but I'm going to make some new ones. But there are like 40 bonus videos on there right now, behind the scenes stuff, blending stuff. I'm going to film some, I'm going on vacation coming up here soon. Going to film some extra stuff for Patreon on that. And then you get entered into these drawings. I do multiple drawings a month, and depending on what tier you're subscribed at, you get multiple entries into the drawings. Now, one thing I did not do is prepare properly and get the wheel of names set up. So let me do that real quick. I apologize for the delay here. There we go. So, you're only allowed to win once per month on this. So the last two winners have been, so basically two drawings. So whoever won the last two are not included in this one. I'm not going to go through and delete their names because that's going to take a little bit of time. So if one of them wins, I will just spin again. So let me present the thing. I also have to do the blend. Share screen. Here we go. I am getting better at this. Add to stage. All right. For the Patreon only drawing, let's see who it is. It is Jim Harger. All right. Well, congratulations, Jim Harger. You will be receiving a sample pack of these. So before we get out of here, let me get into the blend. I do have to pour a very, very small amount of each one of these. Not each of them, but each one of the last three before I go. So I got the Elijah Craig. Let's do a little splash of that. Drawings, do you do caricatures? I always wanted one of those. Different kind of drawing, Sugar Kitty. Slightly different. I do have, though, since you asked. I mean, it's not a drawing, but I do have the Booger Kitty overlay. Let's see if I can find it here. There we go. We've got it. That's the best caricature I can do. And when I say I mean Troy from Bigger Drinks, who supplied me with that before I learned how to use AI. So, let's get, so we got a little Old Forester here. I'm very interested, excuse me, with what this blend is going to turn out like. These were all just absolutely killer whiskeys. I would buy any one of these again. I probably wouldn't buy the Elijah Craig again just because it's... I'd rather just buy the next batch, but I will continue buying Elijah Craig barrel proofs. Even though I have kind of waffled on that in the past. And I will be replacing this Jack Daniel's barrel proof with 135 proof banger from the local liquor store. All right, here we go, folks. It's going to be good. I would assume it's going to be pretty good. Let me get rid of that. Okay. Okay, you had me scared there for a minute. Jesus, not that. Sorry, Sugar Kitty. It's all in good fun. All right, let's get into the blend. Hey, thank you guys very, very much for hanging out tonight. This has been awesome. Again, I love all you Ride or Die folks that come out every single live stream. So I'm not just sitting here by myself. So having you guys in the chat is great. So yeah, cheers everybody. Thank you. On the nose, it's pretty friggin' amazing, I gotta tell you. It just tastes like a damn good premium whiskey. Let's get into the palate. Cheers. Great show, kind sir. Got to roll, though. Take her easy, everybody. Good to see you, Ryan Frank. Hopefully we'll see you in person here sometime soon. That blend is really good. Interestingly enough, the rye stands out. Like, I'm really getting the good... It's not dominant, but you can tell there's a rye whiskey in there, which is nice. Beyond that, it's just got some nice, really dark, rich flavors. I will say, as good as this is, I wouldn't do this blend again because these are all too good on their own. So, good blend, but I don't know that the blend is better than any of these individually. Heading out, Ben, cheers. Good to see you. Brian, what's the proof on that blend? Oh, God, it's got to be 650 something? I don't know. 30 times 5? Yeah, it's somewhere up there. We need Greg back to do the... 650 proof. Okay. We need Greg back here to do the math on that. He was the one that was always good at that. So, anyway, folks... Again, thank you guys so much for joining the live. I will not be live next week, but I will be live, should be live, barring any circumstances or whatever, the following week. So I won't be here next week, but I will be here the following week. So cheers, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you very, very much for joining me again, and we will see you on the next one. Check out the three-way video tomorrow. I think you'll enjoy it.